Alright guys, I was wrong about something and I need to correct it. I was telling everybody that playlists and buying your way onto playlists was illegal and that you would get your music taken off of Spotify. I actually found out that is not the case. It's illegal to get your songs put on botted playlists, which there is a difference. And today I want to talk about the red flags that you can look out for when you're putting your song on a playlist and knowing which playlist is safe to put your music on. What you guys are about to see is part 2 from a multi-part interview that I did with Jabari from Boost Collective. We talked about Spotify. If you didn't check out that video yet, go check out the last video when you're done with this one. We're talking about playlists in this one. We talk about putting a team together, and you guys are going to check that out in some later videos as they come out. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell to join the Music Into Millions family.
You know that we coming liars. I'ma keep praying to Gaia. Tell those little niggas stop it. Tell my mama that I got this. You know that we coming liars.
Guys, like I've been saying that since the beginning. Do not pay for fake playlisting, for stream playlisting, because I actually wanted to talk. This is one of the questions I have for you guys, because I know you guys deal with one of the services you offer is you get people onto playlists and stuff like that.
Sir.
How does that work? Because from my understanding, and obviously I'm wrong because I know you guys aren't going and doing the illegal method of it, but I was under the impression you can't pay to get on playlists.
I'm here with Vladimir, and we are working with the spies quickly to boost them. I'm just
so
kidding.
He is with Russia, guys.
My ex-girlfriend was half Russian, so
it's a fact. That's when it started. That's when it started. But yeah, so like, could you actually explain that and like the difference between proper playlist placement and like bot placement? Because I honestly didn't know, and I obviously knew you guys offer that service. So I don't know like what draws the line, what keeps you on the legal side versus the illegal side, everything like that.
All right, that's a good question. So we all know about the word. It's a pretty big one in the music industry. You know, right after sellout, the second taboo is payola.
Yes.
Which is like, oh, it's pay to play, and it's essentially, for those that, I'm gonna break it down, boil it to like its core fundamentals. It's essentially making it so those that have the means are the only ones that survive in any industry, not just music. But music is a big one because after the labels have pretty much monopolized, it's basically been pay to play for anybody because we can't compete. So when it comes to the playlists, a lot of people make although it's not like, I'm not blaming them, it's easy to make the non-distinction because you have to pay essentially. But the one difference is what Spotify does and what independent curators do is not any different in a way. They have a whole editorial team that goes and finds good music to put it on playlists. The only problem is they can't put every single song or give everybody an equal chance. And so that's where independent curators come. And I'm going to touch in a little bit more about finding, more authentic ones versus more sketch ones. I'm not saying the sketch ones are fake, but there's definitely some red flags that you got to watch out for.
Okay. Yeah, let us know some of these red flags, because this is all news to me. So I'm going to kind of let you take the whole floor and do your thing. And if I have any questions, I'm going to jump in here and make sure everything's being explained for the people who are on my level and don't know really any of this.
All right, perfect. Let's break it down to the bottommost level.
Let's get it.
We all know that Spotify, it needs data in order to properly index your song. It's an algorithm. And whoa, algorithm, what's that? Let me explain. I used to do a little bit of coding. I do every now and then. So I know a little bit of algorithm. An algorithm in the base terms, imagine you have you ever played Pac-Man on the machine?
Yes.
So what happens is in Pac-Man, it's like you have your inputs, which is your hand, which controls the little joystick and the, wah, wah, wah button where you get to move and stuff, like you press play, press whatever. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is there's a process inside of the computer with electrical wires, and then light emitting diodes bring it to the screen, whatever. You don't worry about that stuff. That's just for nerds in Silicon Valley to worry about. And then boom, the output, you see that on your screen. So imagine that input, process, then output. The Spotify algorithm, if you give it the right input, then the process will give it the right output. Same with Instagram algorithm, meaning that if you get like 5 people to comment on your post within the first 5 minutes, and if you make it very like clickable, that's good input that the algorithm uses, the data. And then the output is you get more reach. Spotify is the same. So that's what the editorial and Discover Weekly tries to do. What independent curators do is basically they help you put on playlists, and the benefits are that it gives you the right indexing data. Spotify says this themselves. Try to keep the buzz, keep the reach, because that's what allow them Don't quote me on that like word for word, but I can always send you a link that you can put at the show notes of this podcast.
Yeah, that would be fire.
Yeah, definitely. It's part of their FAQ on Spotify for artists, where they're like,
dope.
yeah, we need the data because that data allows us to get your song out there.
Super fire.
Another way to know whether it's a good playlist or a bad playlist is there's basics, and I'm not going to really go too deep because there's followers, and then there's I have 1,000 followers, probably better than having 4 followers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they might be really good fans, but a number 1,000 is higher than 4.
Right.
But more so, look at the person who's the curator. That matters more than the playlist. See, in the music industry, we all know the word scam. And I've actually been accused of being a scammer so many times that it doesn't even affect me anymore. It's like whatever, you know? So what happens is a lot of the time, these are fly-by-night companies that just pop up. Nobody's ever heard of them before. They don't put their face. There basically isn't a person that's going to be accountable for if something goes wrong. Meaning that if you have a curator and they have practically no social media aside from just their little playlist company, I'm not saying they just never do it, but look at the authenticity of it.
So you're saying kind of like once you find out who the playlist curator is, you're saying kind of go to these people's profiles and like see if you can learn a little bit about this person. And if like you're seeing that they don't like to show their face or that a lot of their stuff is just like content where they're not really disclosing who they are, that's a red flag right there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a big red flag because at this point, if something goes wrong, there's no like assurance or accountability on their end. And it's better if you let the curator take all of the risk, meaning that if something goes wrong, you have somebody to respond to, which is why it's better to use DistroKid instead of trying to code your own RSS feed link to upload to Spotify. Because if something goes wrong on DistroKid, you have, DistroKid, you have Phil from DistroKid to talk to, like, hey, something's not right. And so that's one main thing, one major red flag. And another major red flag is when it comes to finding the right playlist is, okay, obviously one is the right person. Another two is, does it make sense? And I mean, I say it's kind of tongue in cheek, but if you ever seen a playlist and then the playlist is like, all right, TikTok new jams or something like that, or new rock hits. And then you look at the playlist and then the songs have nothing to do with rock. And
it's like a DaBaby song in there or something. It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Like you can tell in that playlist is just one of those things where somebody just accepts any song and some guy coded up some landing page, using Squarespace or WordPress. And now he's just getting people to pay them to basically put him on some playlist he made. Everybody accepted and just, it doesn't add up. So if there's not really like a preview of which playlist you get to audit and you're not able to actually see the playlist before pitching, then that's another big red flag.
Okay, so that's actually a gem right there. So you're saying go into the playlist, look at the type of songs that are in there and make sure that it's aligned with the type of playlist that it's saying it is. Because if it isn't, that right there is like, do not jump on this because someone's kind of playing some fishy games with that. That's a huge gem. I did not know that.
You can even do a secondary audit because some people have just more anxiety and suspicion towards others, which isn't a bad thing. They're just more cautious. So if you're one of those people, then please, I urge you, actually go to the songs themselves and then look at the artists whose songs are. Because then if you look at the artists and then if they have like a decent brand, then they probably know a thing or two about playlists. So if you can it's like a 360 approach because Spotify's it's like a search function. It has a search function also. So it's kind of like a search engine. So by looking at the profiles, getting the full thing, if there's no immediate red flags, then you'll know you're on the right foot. That doesn't mean it's going to be 100% perfect, but you're on the right foot.
Okay. So, and just to clarify, kind of summarizing what we were just talking about. So paying to get on a playlist is not illegal, correct? Paying.
No, it could be illegal if it depends on, okay, let me find a good way to word this. I'm not too sure what the exact word by word law is, but so essentially if you're paying somebody if you're advertising a certain service that goes against Spotify's terms of service, then it's illegal. I'm not sure if Spotify put any new thing out about what their terms of service is. I'll have to go and refresh. I'm going to send it to you so it can be in the terms of service.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to read that for myself too.
But having a PR firm is not illegal. It's like same thing as radio. You know what I mean? They just connect the dots and they connect you, right?
Right.
However, paying for next level hidden stuff that can then get you this next level exposure it's like a really big gray area, which you can get in trouble for, especially if it goes against the terms of service.
So then if I was an artist that wanted to use Boost Collective service, basically what I'm doing is I'm paying you guys. You're not just going to these shady people. You're just, instead of me having to take the time personally to go do the research to see which playlist best fit with me, to make sure that they're credible people, you guys are basically just taking these steps and doing it for the artist, correct?
Yeah, so essentially you're paying for the labor. You're not necessarily paying for the playlist itself. Whether or not you get accepted, that's a good question. But most of the curators we have are friends that we've known for a while over networking the music industry. So just getting together, it was kind of like, hey, do you guys happen to have a playlist? Because what we do is we have a marketing agency. Some of our guys want to get on. And so what happens is they pay us and we do the labor of submitting and getting them on. If not, no worries, because then we're going to resubmit at no additional cost on your end. So it's like you pay one time and you're practically guaranteed to get on one, because if there's a no, we just move on and use our labor to get you the next one.
That's dope. And you kind of brushed over something there that I kind of want to touch back on real quick, is the fact that you said a lot of these playlist curators are people that you've built relationships with and people that you consider friends and have been for a long time. Guys, this is major for the fact that, like, if you are trying to do anything in this music business, which you guys know because I preach it on this channel all the time, it is about relationships. All right. Don't just think about these playlists as a one-up, like eating a mushroom to get your stream numbers boosted. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think of it as, think long-term. So think about what you can bring value-wise for these playlist curators as well. So don't just think, okay, no, they're going to get my song, they're going to boost my stream numbers and do all this for me. You also have to build that relationship. So that was something that I felt like was really important that you just kind of like brushed over. So that's super dope. But very important, guys. All right, I hope you guys liked that video. I hope you guys caught a lot of gems in that video. Hopefully you guys learned some information. I know I definitely did, because I was not aware that all playlisting is not, buying onto playlisting is illegal. I thought it was like a blanket statement, all of it was. But turns out it's just the botted playlist. So make sure you're looking out for these red flags whenever you're trying to get your song submitted onto playlists. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Peace.
Yo, you little bitch.
She just brought a turd all the way with her. Can you get that?
My gosh! Yo! Fuck off! Get out of here, you little fucker.
The cat just stormed out of the letterbox and dragged all this shit with her. Oh, there's a couple.
I know, I saw.
Okay.